Chapter 51. Guoyi vs. Mingyue Shu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 51. Guoyi vs. Mingyue Shu. As for this sword-profound sect that most people had never heard of before, go back and ask someone to find out exactly where the sword-profound sect came from. It managed to cultivate 2 top 10 geniuses on the secondary rankings. What? That's the case. This, however, not long after, an even more shocking scene appeared. When Mingyue Shu reached 4th place on the secondary ranking, Guoyi appeared in 3rd place on the secondary rankings. In contrast, she surpassed Mingyue Shu that was known as the number 1 person in the younger generation of the Bright Moon family. What's so remarkable about it? It doesn't necessarily mean she was better, Mingyue Lan said forcefully. However, her words were indeed not unreasonable. Lin Jin had ascended the tower earlier, right? Even faster than the Mingyue Lan. However, in the end, she still couldn't surpass the Mingyue Lan. She was forcefully stopped by the Mingyue Lan from the main rankings. The Mingyue Shu has gone up 40.2 levels. She is equal to Guoyi from the sword-profound sect. No. Guoyi went up to the 43rd level. She still hasn't come back. Under the divine refining tower, Mingyue Lan clenched her fists. Although she was very confident in her sister, Mingyue Shu, the current situation still made her nervous. The entanglement between Guoyi and Mingyue Shu continued. After Guoyi surpassed the Mingyue Shu, her speed slowed down as well. However, Mingyue Shu did not catch up to her or even surpass her. The 50.1st level. I guess she's reached her limit. Mingyue Lan was a little nervous, or perhaps a little afraid. The reason for that was because the guardian of the 50.1st floor was her. If Guoyi was able to pass the 50.1st level, that would mean that she had lost. That would mean that at the same level, she, Mingyue Lan, was inferior to her opponent. This was something that the Mingyue Lan could not accept. Who was she? Although the Bright Moon family's little princess talent wasn't as good as her older sister's, it wasn't much different. And the other party? A barbarian from a backwater country. Her little face was a little pale. Her gaze was fixed on the 50.1st floor, and her palms were already sweating. 50.2 It was unknown who it was, but they cried out in alarm. The name of the Mingyue Lan gradually dimmed and was replaced by Guoyi. Mingyue Lan's face was incomparably pale, she only felt the world spinning. Defeat. As the second genius of the Bright Moon family's younger generation, she was defeated by a person from a small country. Impossible. How is that possible? This was hard for Mingyue Lan to accept. To the surrounding people, they were also a bit shocked. Guoyi had defeated the genius of the Bright Moon family, Mingyue Lan, and replaced her on the main rankings. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. This was truly too ridiculous. The 52nd level. She's reached the 52nd level. One of them said with a hoarse voice. Guoyi, after ascending to the 51st floor, it wasn't over yet. Not long after, the 52nd floor lit up. And it was not extinguished. The Mingyue Lan had once lit the 50.2nd floor, but it soon extinguished. This meant that the Mingyue Lan did not have the slightest bit of resistance against the guards on the 52nd floor. However, at this moment, Guoyi's light lit up the 52nd level, and it didn't extinguish. This meant that Guoyi was currently fighting the 52nd checkpoint guard instead of being instantly killed. At this moment, the Mingyue Lan was about to bite through her lips. She had personally experienced how terrifying the 50.2nd level was. Guoyi passed the 50.1st floor and was currently on the 50.2nd floor. Since Guoyi had yet to pass the 50.2nd level, she was still ranked at the top of the secondary rankings, the ranking before Mingyue Lan. Within the 50.1st floor. Within an empty space, Mingyue easily defeated the Guardian. As expected of the number one genius of the Bright Moon family, the Mingyue did not feel too much pressure even after she reached the 50th level. Up until now, she hadn't used her full strength. Next, I should have a battle with my younger sister. As she spoke, Mingyue's expression became a little strange. Because she was inside the tower, Mingyue did not know that the person who was ranked at the 100,000th place on the main list was no longer her sister, Mingyue, but rather Guoyi. Swoosh! As the Mingyue had expected, after defeating the gatekeeper on the 50th floor, the gate on the 50th floor did not appear. Instead, a projection appeared not far away from Mingyue. Mingyue knew that on the 50th floor, she had to experience 2 battles before she could reach the 50th floor. She knew this. In the first battle, the Guardian. In the second battle, the projection of the person ranked at the 100,000th position. But what made Mingyue feel a little strange was the projection that appeared not far in front of her was not her sister, Mingyue. What was going on? Mingyue was a little confused. Buzz! In the area, the power was changing wildly. Mingyue's cultivation was quickly restricted to the same level as Guoyi. Qi condensation. Bright Moon Shu's expression was even more strange. Was there something wrong with this divine refining tower? The young girl in front of him was only at the Qi condensation realm. Although her strength was limited to the 5th level of Qi condensation, Mingyue was not afraid. She was at the 5th level of Qi condensation, and this young lady before her was also at the 5th level of Qi condensation. At the same level, Mingyue didn't think she would lose. This wasn't arrogance. It was the confidence that the Bright Moon family's number one genius should have. Although her cultivation base was only at the 5th level of Qi condensation, it was clear that Mingyue's combat strength was not as simple as the 5th level of Qi condensation. There was no absolute fairness in this world. The divine refining tower's actions seemed to be fair, but in reality, the one with a high cultivation base was undoubtedly the one with the upper hand. Although Mingyue's cultivation base was restricted, she was still in the nascent soul realm. The control of her spiritual power, combat experience, and comprehension of martial arts was not something Guoyi could compare to. Thus, this seemingly fair battle was not fair. This was also why Mingyue did not think she would lose. Under such circumstances, if she was still unable to win, then it would be a bit embarrassing. The cold ice body. The projection was not the real Guoyi. It was merely a projection puppet created by the divine refining tower. She had no feelings, so she would not hold back. As soon as the battle started, she directly used her full strength. As soon as the ice spirit emerged, the temperature in the surrounding space suddenly dropped. A thin layer of water-blue ice gauze covered Guoyi's skin. With a single strike, a cold wind whistled through the air, and a slender icicle stabbed out. A spiritual body. And it's the cold ice body. Mingyue was a little surprised. She didn't dare to underestimate her opponent at all. She raised her hand and used her martial arts. Radiant Heart Mirror. The Radiant Heart Mirror was an Earth-ranked martial technique. Moreover, it was not an ordinary Earth-ranked martial technique, but a high-rank Earth-rank martial technique. One of the few top defensive techniques of the Bright Moon family. Furthermore, this martial technique had already been comprehended by Mingyue to the perfection stage. Once she took action, it was a supreme technique. It could be seen how important Mingyue had seen this battle was. Faced against someone who has a spiritual body of heavens and earth, especially the cold ice body, Mingyue did not dare to hold back. Boom! The ice cone and the mirror collided fiercely. Crack! The mirror instantly shattered. Mingyue flew backward. Crush! Mingyue was defeated. Moreover, she had been defeated decisively. In just one move, the outcome was decided. Mingyue Shu stared at the young elf-like girl in shock. Chapter 52. Every level was instantly cleared. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 52. Every level was instantly cleared. At the same level of cultivation, she was crushed by her opponent while she had the advantage. The perfection. Stage radiant heart mirror was unable to stop the ice cone. Mingyue Shu's figure slowly disappeared. This also meant that her trip to the divine refining tower was over. The final result, the 50. First level, was the same as her sister, Mingyue Lan. No, if she were to say it seriously, her younger sister, Mingyue Lan, would have barely managed to reach the 50. Second floor. Even though it was only for that instant, as the number one genius of the Bright Moon family, she was unable to even reach the 50. Second floor. Of course. This was not Mingyue Shu. She could not reach a higher level. If it were not for Guei, the 50. First floor would not be her limit. She could surpass her ancestor, Mingyue Shui. However, Mingyue Shu's luck was simply too bad. If Guei was allowed to ascend the 50. Third floor later and Mingyue Shu went to the 50. First floor, the situation would be completely different. Because Guei had climbed the 50. Third floor first and squeezed out the other people who were ranked lower on the main rankings, at that time, Mingyue Shu would have to face those who had been squeezed down by Guei instead of Guei's projection. Outside the divine refining tower, everyone didn't know what was going on inside. They only saw the name of Mingyue Shu. Not long after they reached the 50. First level, it dimmed. Everyone was stunned. The 50. First level. How was that possible? Mingyue Shu had just reached the 50. First level. It shouldn't be. She was the number one genius of the Bright Moon family. Even her younger sister had briefly ascended to the 52nd floor. But she stopped at the 51st floor. Mingyue Shu's results were fixed on the 51st floor. Many people's first reaction was that they did not believe it. The one that found it most difficult to accept was naturally Mingyue Shu's sister, Mingyue Lan. No one knows more about Mingyue Shu's talent and strength than she did. It was because of her understanding that it was extremely difficult to accept. Big sister, how could she only ascend to the 51st level? I thought of a possibility. Earlier, when Mingyue Shu ascended to the 50. First floor, Guei was still fighting against the guards on the 50. Second floor. Therefore, the second guardian on the 50. First floor was still Guei's projection. None of the people present were fools. Hearing this person mention a bit, they quickly came to a realization. You mean that Mingyue Shu was not defeated by the guardian of the 50. First level, but by Guei's projection? That's right. It seems, that's the only possibility. Otherwise, with Mingyue Shu's talent, how could the 51st level be her limit? Countless people began to discuss the matter. Many of them also looked at Mingyue Shu as if they wanted to get an answer from her, but no one dared to ask. Big sister, is it really as they said? Mingyue Lan had a look of weeping on her face. The things that had happened today were too great a blow to her. Yes. The pale-faced Bright Moon Shu nodded, not denying it. A defeat was a defeat. Originally, she didn't know who the projection of the girl who had defeated her was, but when she heard the surrounding people's discussions, she understood. The girl who had defeated him was called Guei. Moreover, it was the Profound Sword sect. Mingyue Shu became more and more interested in the Profound Sword sect. As expected. Hiss, how monstrous is Guei? She defeated the number one genius of the Bright Moon family. Ignoring the surrounding discussion, Mingyue Shu turned her gaze to the divine refining tower. At this moment, Guei had already arrived on the 54th floor. It was the last floor away from the 55th floor. The southern continent's highest record set by her ancestor. Mingyue Shu was also curious. In the end, How many levels could this young girl crush at her realm? Master, give me this new junior sister. She is truly too monstrous. Lin Jin was also shocked. You're not bad either. If you can walk further along the path of the sword Dao, you might not be inferior to your junior sister in the future. Xian Yi smiled. He was indeed very satisfied with Guo Yi. Of course, Lin Jin was the same. As for Wang Hu, once he returned to the sect, Xian Yi would guide him. Even though Wang Hu was less talented, with him around, it would be difficult for him to become ordinary in the future. Talent sometimes didn't mean anything. It's getting late. It's time for me to ascend the tower. Xian Yi's words caused Lin Jin's heart. Master, you'll reach the top. Lin Jin didn't just have confidence in Xian Yi anymore. Instead, she worshipped him blindly. Xian Yi smiled, didn't say anything. Instead, he walked directly towards the divine refining tower. 50.5th level. It's equal to the record set by the ancestor of the Bright Moon family, Mingyue Shui. As soon as Xian Yi stepped into the divine refining tower, other than his disciples and the others, almost no one paid attention to him. At this moment, everyone's attention was focused on the 55th floor of the divine refining tower. Countless people were endlessly excited. It was as if the person who had ascended to the 55th floor was not Guo Yi, but themselves. Xian Yi's name slowly appeared on the list that no one paid attention to. The speed of his ascent was not fast. However, it wasn't slow either. Master has appeared on the secondary rankings. Lin Jin and the others were different. While paying attention to Guo Yi, they did not forget to pay attention to Xian Yi. 30.7 levels. 30.8 levels. 30.9 levels. 40 levels. Only when Xian Yi's name appeared in the top 10 of the secondary rankings did anyone notice him. Someone has ascended to the top 10 on the secondary rankings. Go, who has the time to look at the secondary rankings? However, is that person from the Profound Sword sect? After being reminded, some people all turned their gazes to the secondary rankings. At this moment, Xian Yi's ranking had already reached 5th place. The top 4 were Guo Yi, Mingyue Lan, Lin Jin, and Mingyue Shu. The words, Profound Sword Sect, after Xian Yi's name appeared especially dazzling. It had to be said that half a day ago when it came to the Profound Sword Sect, not many people present knew of it. But now, who was unaware of the Profound Sword Sect? The people who had walked out of the sect were more monstrous than each other. First, it was Lin Jin, who had almost pushed Mingyue Lan, the second genius of the Bright Moon family, out of the main rankings. Guo Yi appeared out of nowhere. Not only had she reached the 50.5th floor of the divine refining tower, but she had also defeated the number 1 genius of the Bright Moon family, Mingyue Shu, in the same realm. She had rejected Mingyue Shu from the main rankings and ranked 4th on the secondary rankings. Now, another person appeared from the Profound Sword sect. At this moment, everyone was already somewhat numb. Just who was this Profound Sword sect? How could they compare to each other? Now, the Profound Sword sect had occupied 3 of the top 5 on the secondary rankings. This Profound Sword sect was going to defy the heavens. Were all the members of the Profound Sword sect strange fetuses? Each one of them is more abnormal than the other. Look, the number of floors behind that profound body. In the blink of an eye, Xian Yi had already reached the 45th floor. His speed had no intention of slowing down at all. Xian Yi is not even more monstrous than Guo Yi. Someone couldn't help but say. It's not impossible. Have you noticed that Xian Yi's speed has not slowed down after reaching the 40th floor? Even Guo Yi and Mingyue Shu would slow down when they reached the 40th level. This meant that they would no longer be able to kill the tower guardians in one move. And now, after Xian Yi ascended the 40th floor, his speed was still the same as the 30th floor. What this meant was self-evident. This meant that after the 40th level, Xian Yi would still be able to instantly kill those guarding the entrance. This was a bit terrifying. This was something that neither Guo Yi nor Mingyue Shu had ever done. After 50 levels, that's right. Someone swallowed and said. However, in reality, they were quickly slapped. When Xian Yi reached the 50th floor, his speed. He still had no intention of slowing down. Still, it was an instant pass for the gatekeeper. At this moment, Guo Yi was still on the 50th floor, not clearing it. It could be seen that she was truly experiencing an extremely intense battle. In the end, Xian Yi was about to catch up to Guo Yi. How is that possible? Mingyue Shu's beautiful face finally revealed a look of shock. Chapter 53. Creating History in the Southern Continent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 53. Creating History in the Southern Continent. One had to know that even when Guo Yi held the record of her ancestor Mingyue Shui, she was merely slightly surprised. Now, she was shocked. That's right. After the 50th level, he was still able to insta-kill his opponent. How could this be possible? Mingyue Shu had also reached the 50th level. Even though Mingyue Shu had easily defeated the 50th level's guard, she was never able to kill him instantly. 50.1 levels. 50.2 levels. 50.3 levels. He's still insta-killing them. Heavens! What kind of monster is this? The surroundings of the Divine Refining Pagoda were completely boiling. Mingyue Shu and Mingyue Lan were even worse. Mingyue Lan vaguely remembered that she didn't even have the chance to resist against the 52nd level's guards. However, right now, there was someone who had killed the guardian of the 52nd level without the slightest bit of resistance. The two women believed that they had seen the world before, but they were still so shocked that they were unable to speak. Everything that happened before their eyes were still beyond their understanding. After the 50th level, he still killed instantly. Mingyue Shu was certain that even the person ranked first on the Azure ranking would not be able to do this. 50.5 levels. 50.6 levels. He surpassed Guo Yi. Guo Yi was still on the 55th floor. Everyone no longer knew what to say. Could it be that something went wrong with the Divine Refining Pagoda? When he reached the 55th and 56th levels, he was still able to kill instantly. Was this something a person could do? What kind of freak was he? Fortunately, just as everyone was wondering if or not the Divine Refining Pagoda had any other problems, Xian Yi's speed finally slowed down a bit when he reached the 60th level. However, it was only a little. At this moment, everyone's attention had shifted from Guo Yi to Xian. Because on the main rankings, he had ascended to the 56th level. Oh no, it was already the 57th level. Xian Yi, who had ascended to the 57th level, had already arrived at the 73,661st position on the main rankings. This directly broke the highest record of the southern continent created by Mingyue Shui more than 300 years ago. The speed at which Xian Yi ascended the tower was simply too fast. It attracted the attention of countless people, so much so that when Guo Yi defeated the gatekeeper at the 55th level and ascended to the 56th level, not many people noticed it. 70.6 thousand. 53,000, 20,000. 9,000. 3,000. 1,370.6. As the number of levels that Xian Yi ascended grew higher and higher, his ranking on the main rankings was also rising crazily. When Xian Yi reached the 72nd level, his ranking on the main rankings had already reached 376th. At that moment, the minds of countless people were almost completely blank. This included Mingyue Shu and Mingyue Lan. What kind of monster is this? A genius of this level should not have appeared in this tiny heavenly wind kingdom, or even in the Azure region. The Azure region was very large, but in the entire southern continent, it was very small. Many exceptional prodigies had emerged from the Azure region, such as Jian Chen, who was the number 1 on the Azure ranking. However, even if Jian Chen came to the Divine Refining Tower, his results would not be much higher than her ancestor, Mingyue Shui. She returned to her senses and looked at the Divine Refining Pagoda again. She realized that Xian Yi was no longer on the 71st floor, but on the 79th floor. The number 1 spot on the original leaderboard was equal. That person from the eastern continent, Tian Wuji, had set a record, the 79th level. The southern continent had finally appeared in the top 10. At this moment, Xian Yi was ranked second on the main rankings. As long as he ascended another level, he would break the highest record in the history of the Divine Refining Pagoda. Everyone had thought that one day, someone would be able to break the 79th level record set by the eastern continent's Tian Wuji. However, they would never have imagined that all of this would happen before their eyes. Every time the Divine Refining Pagoda was opened, many people were unwilling to talk about it. They even went to see the main rankings. This was because of the people of the southern continent. The main rankings were a disgrace. Out of the 4 continents, only the southern continent had no one in the top 10. Not to mention the top 10, there were no people in the top 100, the top 1000, or even the top 10,000. In the southern continent, the highest ranked was the peerless prodigy of the Bright Moon family, Mingyue Shui, who had set a record of 97,230. Now, someone from the southern continent had finally appeared on the main rankings. Xian Yi. And he was ranked second. No. He was already number 1. On the main rankings, Xian Yi's name had already changed to Tian Wuji's. Xian Yi arrived at number 1. Tian Wuji fell to second place. Looking at the 79th level of the Divine Refining Tower, the light had already dimmed, and the 80th floor had quietly lit up. 1. Xian Yi, Southern Continent, 80th level, Sword Profound Sect. 3. Dao Chen, Eastern Continent, 78th level, Heaven Severing Pavilion. 4. Huang Jiuyo, Western Continent, 77th level, Netherworld Clan. 5. Kuan Si, Northern Continent, 76th level, Demon Kuan Clan. 6. Snow Ice Condensation, East Continent, 76th level, Ice and Snow Dynasty. 7. Chu Qiankuan, North Continent, 75th level, Chu Tian family. At a glance, they were people from the Eastern Continent, the Western Continent, and the Northern Continent. On the other hand, Xian Yi, who was at the highest point, appeared. Look, Guo Yi has also reached the 61st level. No one knew who called out. Only then did everyone finally turn their gazes away and look down. Ever since Xian Yi had surpassed Guo Yi, almost everyone's attention had been focused on Xian Yi. Even though Guo Yi had defeated several layers of gatekeepers and ascended to the 61st layer, not many people had noticed her. If it weren't for someone reminding them, they would have forgotten about Guo Yi's existence. This wasn't their fault either. It was the shock that Xian Yi had brought them, too great. In front of Xian Yi's terrifying 80th level, Guo Yi's 61st level was not that exaggerated. But what about the truth? In reality, Guo Yi's current results were still extremely great. On the 61st level, the main ranking was 53,621. If Xian Yi was not a monster, the main character today would be Guo Yi. What was even more terrifying was that these two were from the same sect. That was the most terrifying thing. On the 60.2nd level, after nearly half an hour of intense battle, Guo Yi was unable to defeat the Guardian in the end. At this point, Guo Yi's final result was fixed at the 61st level, ranking 53,621 on the main rankings. Who, after walking out of the Divine Refining Pagoda, Guo Yi slightly exhaled. I've just activated my cold ice body. I don't have complete control over it. Otherwise, I might have been able to ascend a few more levels. Looking back at the Divine Refining Pagoda, Goei was surprised to find that the 85th floor was lit up. Did someone reach the 85th level? Looking back at the steel's main rankings, Goei's astonishment finally disappeared when she saw that the person who was ranked first on the main rankings and had ascended the 85th floor was her master Xian Yi. So it was master. No, it should be said that it could only be master. In Goei's heart, her master was the most monstrous genius in this world. Goei's admiration for Xian Yi had even reached the point of blindness. Not to mention the 85th level, even if he were to ascend to the top of the divine refining pagoda, it would merely seem natural to Goei. At this moment, the people around the divine refining pagoda no longer wanted to guess what level Xian Yi would be able to reach in the end. Instead, could he reach the top? Chapter 54. Who injured you? Point them out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 54. Who injured you? Point them out. 80.6, 80.7. 80.8, 80.9. 90. 90 levels. At this moment, they were no longer shocked. Because they were already numb. On the 90th floor, Xian Yi's sword was fighting with a humanoid puppet. Boom. His opponent easily handled his powerful sword strike. This meant that Xian Yi's current attack was no longer enough to harm it. One must know that Xian Yi had already used his sword intent. He had already used the skill of the peak of the first level of sword intent. Even so, he couldn't break through his opponent's defense. This puppet's strength was comparable to someone of the 7th level of the nascent soul realm. Since the first level of sword intent isn't enough, the second level will have to do. As soon as he finished speaking, an even fiercer sword intent burst forth from his body. Wind Lightning Sword. The Extreme Realm Wind Lightning Sword was covered with his second level sword intent, making Xian Yi's next sword strike especially terrifying. Bang! When the sword collided with the puppet was instantly destroyed. From being unable to break through the opponent's defense to destroying it with a single sword strike. This was the terrifying second level of sword intent. Is this the power of the peak of the second level of sword intent? Truly terrifying. It could be said that if Goei had not activated her cold ice body, Xian Yi would not have received the mission reward, increased his cultivation by 1 level, and comprehended the peak's second level sword intent. Then today, Xian Yi would probably stop here. No, he would not even reach the 90th floor. At most, he could have reached the 87th or 88th floors. Following that, Xian Yi used the second level of sword intent and charged up to the 99th level. That was the last level of the divine refining pagoda. He's the 99th level. Whether he can reach the top will depend on this final battle. Xian Yi was also looking forward to it. How strong would the next opponent be? One had to know that he had yet to use his full strength. Although he had used the second level of sword intent, he only used the early stage of the second level. Regardless of whether it was the first level of sword intent or the second level of sword intent, each sword intent had 2 levels. One was the early stage, then the peak. So far, Xian Yi had only used the early second level of sword intent, not the peak second level of sword intent. I never expected that someone would be able to ascend this old man's divine refining pagoda. Ha ha ha, this time, the being who appeared in front of Xian Yi was no longer the human shaped puppets. Instead, he was an old man with a young face. Senior is. This old man is the Berserk Saber King. This divine refining pagoda was created by me. The old man said indifferently. The old man's words caused Xian Yi's heart to tremble. King. This was the title of a King Realm expert. This old man before him was a King Realm expert. Not only was he a King level expert, but he had also refined the divine refining pagoda. It was very likely that he was an extremely high grade refiner. After sizing up Xian Yi, the old man clicked his tongue. Little fellow, you're truly a pervert. Even though this divine refining pagoda was refined by this old man, I never imagined that when I refined it, it would be impossible for anyone to make it to the 99th level. Xian Yi was speechless. Although these words were praising him, it sounded like he was cursing him. How is it, little fellow? Are you willing to accept me as your master? If anyone else heard that a king realm expert was willing to accept a disciple, they would probably immediately kneel and beg to become his disciples. But Xian Yi did not. The Berserk Saber King was a Saber Dao expert, and he was cultivating the Sword Dao. Forgive me for refusing. If my guess is correct, Senior's Dao is the Dao of Saber, while my cultivation is the Dao of the Sword. Sword Dao. So what if the Dao of the Sword could be compared to my Dao of the Saber? Back then, I was at the peak of the second level of the Sword Dao. If you change cultivation, I will help you comprehend the Sword Dao within a year. Buzz. Xian Yi did not say anything. The peak second level sword intent broke through his body. The vast sword intent enveloped this space, and it was incomparably sharp. The peak of the second level of sword intent. The elder's eyes narrowed. Initially, he didn't know that Xian Yi had broken through. Only when he reached the 99th level of the divine refining pagoda would he be awakened. As for him, he had already perished countless years ago. Therefore, before this, the old man had no idea that Xian Yi had already grasped the peak of the second level of sword intent. At the fourth level of the nascent soul realm, you've already grasped the peak of the second level of sword intent. No wonder you've been able to ascend to the peak of this old man's divine refining pagoda. The Berserk Saber King had seen countless geniuses before, but none of them could compare to the young man in front of him. Before the King Realm, very few people could comprehend sword intent. Even many King Realm Sword Dao experts only reached the first level of sword intent. No wonder he refused. A genius with such talent in the Dao of the sword, how could he turn to the Dao of the saber? A person who was only at the fourth level of the nascent soul realm was comparable to himself in the Dao of the sword. One must know that he was a king. Moreover, he was not an ordinary King Realm expert. He was a mid-stage King Realm expert. Since that's the case, I won't force you to do anything. However, I can't ask you for your help for free. As a reward, everything in my ring of holding will belong to you. As the old man spoke, he threw out a ring of holding. Xian Yi's divine sense entered. Blue dragon saliva. Primal yang grass. Thunderwood. A 5th grade spirit sword. 5th grade armor. Xian Yi was moved. Within the ring of holding, there were countless spiritual herbs, spirit pills, weapons, and so on, and most of them were of high grade. Apart from that, Xian Yi had discovered 3 cultivation techniques within his ring of holding. Frenzied sword, absolute heaven, burning flame, divine forging. Moreover, these 3 cultivation techniques were all heaven-grade cultivation techniques. It had to be said that Xian Yi was moved. Not to mention the 3 heaven-grade cultivation techniques. Merely those spirit grass spirit pills caused him to be extremely tempted. With these spirit herbs and spirit pills, Xian Yi could completely advance Gui's strength in the period before the Azure region's grand competition. It wasn't just Gui. Some of the spirit herbs and spirit pills were also extremely useful to Xian Yi's nascent soul cultivation. Senior, please ask for anything as long as it is within this junior's power. It's not a big deal, the old man sighed. I'm from the Frenzied Sword sect. I'm the 130.7th sect master of the Frenzied Sword sect. I don't know how long it's been since then. I think it'll be a long time. Whether the Frenzied Sword sect still exists is unknown. I don't want you to do anything either. If you encounter someone from my Frenzied Sword sect in the future, you'll hand over the heaven rank cultivation technique, Frenzied Sword's absolute heaven, to the current sect master. Of course, if the Frenzied Sword sect still exists, if the Frenzied Sword gate no longer exists, then you will accept any disciple and inherit them, Frenzied Sword Clan. The Frenzied Sword sect is located in the eastern continent's Azure Water region. The old man's figure slowly disappeared. Xian Yi also remembered the old man's words in his heart. If he were to head to the eastern continent one day, he would go to the Azure Water region to take a look. After all, he had obtained so many benefits. He's out. He is Xian Yi. So young. The 90.9th level of the Divine Refining Pagoda is unprecedented. That's right. As soon as Xian Yi stepped out of the Divine Refining Pagoda, countless gazes shot over. There were exclamations and greed. Especially after seeing Xian Yi's age, some people's eyes were filled with greed. However, Xian Yi was not only ranked first on the main rankings, but he had also ascended to the 99th level of the Divine Refining Pagoda. What this meant was self-evident. Since he had reached the 90.9th level of the Divine Refining Pagoda, he had naturally obtained the legacy and life-long treasures of a King Realm expert. A King Realm inheritance and treasure. Just these words alone were enough to make anyone crazy. Even if the rumors were false, the treasures he had obtained were extraordinary. After Xian Yi ascended to the 99th level of the Divine Refining Pagoda, the truth and the false were no longer important. The inheritance of a King Realm expert, a lifetime treasure. If Xian Yi said that he didn't get it, would anyone believe him? One had to know that just ascending the top 100 of the vice rankings would be enough for many nascent soul experts to be tempted. Master. Elder Xian. Xian Yi's two disciples, as well as Zishuan Lv Ying and the others, quickly gathered after seeing Xian Yi come out. It was because they realized that the gazes of the surrounding people were not quite right. What happened? Xian Yi stared at Guiyi. At this moment, Guiyi's hair was a bit messy and her face was a bit pale. The corner of her mouth was also covered in dried blood. He scanned her with his spiritual sense and discovered that the situation in her body wasn't good either. This injury was not light. Furthermore, this injury was not caused by the Divine Refining Pagoda. In the Divine Refining Pagoda, no matter how severe the injury obtained, it would not affect them outside of it. This was the magic of the Divine Refining Pagoda. Therefore, Guiyi's injuries were caused by someone after she left the Divine Refining Pagoda. Earlier, there was an old animal that forcibly wanted to take Junior Sister Yi as a disciple. Naturally, Junior Sister Yi would not have agreed. After that, that old thing did not say anything and directly attacked, wanting to forcibly capture Junior Sister Yi. If Miss Shu had not intervened, Junior Sister Yi would have probably, the one who spoke was Lv Ying. She still had some lingering fear when she recalled what had happened earlier. If Miss Mingyue Shu had not attacked, Junior Sister Yi would have probably been taken away by that old thing. Hearing Lv Ying's words, Xian Yi's expression became increasingly gloomy. He looked at the Mingyue Shu and the Mingyue Lan not far away. Thank you, Miss Shu, for your help. Xian Yi will remember this kindness. Xian Yi's voice gradually became ice-cold as he looked around. Point out who injured you. Xian Yi's voice wasn't loud, but it was heard by everyone present. His voice was filled with boundless anger. Chapter 55. The 6th level of Nascent Soul Realm. 1/. I beg for the first order. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 55. The 6th level of Nascent Soul Realm. 1/. I beg for the first order. It's him. Guiyi pointed somewhere. There was a skinny old man. Seeing Guiyi pointing at him, the old man was unhurried. He chuckled and took a step forward. It's me. What do you want? What? You want to avenge your junior sister. As soon as he finished speaking, his nascent soul realm aura instantly swept out. Because it was very far away, the withered old man had not heard Guiyi and the others address Xian Yi. Furthermore, Xian Yi was too young. The old man did not know that Xian Yi was Guo Yi's master. He thought that he was Guo Yi's senior brother. Although the current Xian Yi looked extremely terrifying, the old man did not place him in his eyes. This person's talent was truly heaven-defying. However, talent was not equal to strength. No matter how talented he was, at this age, he could only be at the soul condensation realm. As for the skinny one, he was at the second stage of the nascent soul realm. Naturally, there was no reason for him to be afraid of Xian Yi. If not for the fact that he was afraid of Mingyue Shu and that this kid dared to speak to him like this, the old man would have made his life worse than death. Buzz. Without wasting any words, Xian Yi's palm struck out towards the sky. There was a reason why he didn't use his sword. It was because there was no need. How could a mere second-level nascent soul cultivator make him use a sword to kill him? Even if he didn't use his sword intent, Xian Yi was still a true fourth-level nascent soul expert. With a palm strike, spiritual power surged above the skinny old man's head. In the blink of an eye, it formed a large hand in the air and ruthlessly pressed down on the skinny old man. Nascent Soul Realm. This Xian Yi is in the nascent soul realm. How was that possible? How old was he? 20.3 or 20.4 years old. Nascent soul realm. Everyone was shocked when Xian Yi took action. Nascent soul realm spiritual energy fluctuations. He's at the nascent soul realm. Mingyue Shu was also surprised. This Xian Yi seemed to be about the same age as her. He was actually in the nascent soul realm. The reason why Mingyue Shu herself could reach nascent soul at the age of 20 was related to Mingyue family's foundation. Without the full support of this enormous Mingyue family, this would not be possible. Countless resources would be poured into her training. No matter how talented Mingyue Shu was, it would be very difficult for her to reach the nascent soul realm at the age of 20. But Xian Yi. Another Duan Chongkong. No, this person is much more terrifying than Duan Chongkong. As she spoke, the skinny old man was captured by Xian Yi's large hand. In the entire process, the skinny old man did not resist at all. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he couldn't. Rao, spare me. Ignoring the skinny old man's pleading, Xian Yi asked, "Who are you?" I am of the Heavenly Yin sect, boom. Before the skinny old man could finish his words, he was crushed by Xian Yi's large hand. The reason Xian Yi did not immediately kill him was simply that he wanted to know which faction he came from. As for the others, Xian Yi was not interested. It's probably not a good thing for the Heavenly Yin sect to have trash like you. The meaning behind his words was that not only did Xian Yi want to kill that skinny old man, he also didn't plan to let him off. Boom. After killing the skinny old man, Xian Yi reached out his hand and grabbed the air. A sword appeared in his hand in an instant. At the same time, a terrifying sword intent soared into the sky. I know. Many of you are coveting my things. If anyone wants to snatch them, they can take action now. However, I said the ugly words first. Once I make a move, it means that you will die. Xian Yi's voice spread throughout the entire Divine Refining Pagoda's area. This is not the embryonic form of sword intent, but sword intent. Sword intent. This is sword intent. Mingyue Shu's small mouth slightly opened. Today, Xian Yi had brought too much shock to her. Sword intent. Although Mingyue Shu was not a sword cultivator, there were people in her family who cultivated swords. Furthermore, this person was not a minor figure in her family. It was one of the two king realm experts of the Mingyue family, the Snow King, Mingyue Shui. Mingyue Shui was not only a sword cultivator but also a sword cultivator who had comprehended sword intent. Because of this, even though Mingyue Shui had just entered the king realm, her strength was even stronger than that of the Mingyue king. The reason why the Mingyue family was able to rise from the bottom of the Azure Domain's top 10 giants to the top 5 was not only because of the Mingyue family but also because Mingyue Shui was strong enough. Although she had just entered the King Realm, she was not inferior to some of the older King Realm experts in the Azure Domain. Not mention her strength, but rather her sword intent. The sword intent that Xian Yi had in front of him was better than that ancestor of the Mingyue family, Mingyue Shui. A nascent soul realm expert had surpassed a king realm expert in terms of understanding sword intent. At this moment, the surroundings of the divine refining pagoda were terrifyingly quiet. At the fourth level of the nascent soul realm, coupled with sword intent, everyone present didn't dare act rashly, especially those who coveted Xian's treasures. At this moment, even a sixth-level nascent soul expert felt a great threat from the sword intent that filled the sky. Even they didn't dare act rashly. No one wanted to be out before Xian Yi's strength was known. Master, at that moment, Xian Yi's image in the hearts of Lin Jin, Guiyi, and the others rose incomparably tall. One person was facing tens of thousands of experts. There were many nascent soul experts among them. But even so, no one dared to act rashly when facing their master. How domineering was this? This old man, Ping Yuan, came here to seek advice. The silence lasted for a long time before it was finally broken by an old voice. A sixth-level nascent soul elder took the lead. Countless people stared at Xian Yi. One could imagine that in the next battle, Xian Yi would not be able to defeat him at all, or he might not be able to quickly end the battle, and they would start a group attack. Slash. As soon as the word slash was uttered, the vast sword energy slashed down with boundless sword intent. It collided with the old man's attack. Chi under the vast sword energy, the old man was torn into pieces by the terrifying sword intent. A sixth-level nascent soul realm expert killed. With one slash. Chapter 56. How much was it? How many? So what if there is a king? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 56. How much was it? How many? So what if there is a king? Countless people's eyes almost popped out of their heads. That was someone at the sixth level of the nascent soul realm. Even among the major sects, people of that level were normally vice-sect masters or grand elders. Now, even Xian Yi's sword was unable to handle his strength. This sword strike completely suppressed everyone. It also dispelled everyone's thoughts of seizing Xian's treasures. Let's go. Seeing that this sword strike had shocked everyone, Xian Yi snorted coldly and left this place with Guiyi and the others. As they watched Xian Yi and the others leave, countless people fell silent. However, they knew that this matter was far from over. Xian Yi was powerful, but the treasures he obtained were even more attractive. After he left the Purple Moon Realm, the news that Xian Yi had obtained the inheritance and treasures of the King Realm would spread throughout and even outside the 9 hanging rivers. At that time, countless experts would gather at the Profound Sword Sect. A man is innocent, a treasure is guilty. A fourth-level nascent soul cultivator, even if he had comprehended sword intent, no matter how monstrous he would not be able to defend that inheritance and treasure. Not to mention that he was only at the 4th level of the nascent soul realm, even at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm, he couldn't do that. The legacy of a king realm expert and the treasures of a king realm expert were enough for anyone to be tempted. At that time, even half-step king realm experts would take action, not to mention peak 9th level nascent soul experts. The so-called half-step king realm was actually at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm. They hadn't broken through to the king realm, but they were much stronger than the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm. Half-step king realm, one was at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm and was at the same level as the king realm. Moreover, not everyone was able to advance to this level. Most of the people who were at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm were unable to break through to the half-step king realm, not to mention the king realm. A half-step King Realm expert was a peak 9th level nascent soul expert who could communicate with a trace of his spiritual yuan. Even though their cultivation hadn't changed at all, they were still at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm. However, because they had communicated with a trace of spiritual yuan that only kings could control. Even though their strength was far from comparable to that of a true king, it made them much stronger than ordinary peak 9th level nascent soul experts. This was the half-step King realm. However, there were very few people who could communicate with a trace of spiritual yuan at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm. As a result, there were very few half-step kings. Everything was due to strength. Xian Yi was silent. If Xian Yi wasn't a 4th level nascent soul expert, but a genuine King realm expert, then no one would dare to covet this inheritance and treasure. Unfortunately, he was only at the 4th level of the nascent soul. Big sister, do you think that he has obtained the inheritance of the King realm? If that happens, will he be able to guard that inheritance and treasure? The Mingyue Lan asked with some melancholy. Mingyue Shu shook her head. Xian Yi, who had already left, naturally knew that this matter was not finished. However, he was not worried. It was because he had a trump card. This trump card was the reward for the main mission. The main mission was to make any disciple under Xian Yi reach the soul condensation realm. This mission was not difficult for him, who had many high-grade pills and high-grade spirit herbs. After Guei activated her cold ice body, her strength was already comparable to a high true essence realm cultivator. As long as she improved a bit, she would be able to reach the soul condensation realm. At that time, Xian Yi, who had completed the main mission, would receive 2 rewards. First, the glory of King Li Bai's greatest move, the Green Lotus Sword Song. Second, there were 3 opportunities for the attacks of the Peak King Realm expert, Bing.Yu. This, Frozen Feather was Xian Yi's trump card. So what if there were more people? When the time comes, he'll kill as many that come. Not to mention peak 9th level nascent soul or even half-step King realm. Even if a true King realm expert had come, they would have no way to return home. A few days later, Xian Yi slowly opened his eyes on a towering mountain peak. According to the Divine Refining Pagoda, a few days had already passed. In the past few days, Xian Yi didn't bring everyone along to continue exploring the Purple Moon realm. Instead, he found a place to cultivate in seclusion. After obtaining the Berserk Saber King's Ring of Holding, Xian completely lost interest in the other treasures of the Purple Moon realm. In front of Berserk Saber King's Ring of Holding, the Purple Moon Secret Realms' treasure was nothing. Instead of wasting that time, it would be better to take advantage of these few days to digest the resources in the ring. In the past few days, although Xian Yi had a large number of resources and various high-grade medicinal pills, he did not give them too much. It wasn't that Xian Yi was stingy, rather it was that Xian Yi didn't want to destroy Lin Jin and Guei. Of course, if Lin Jin and Guei were given all the medicinal pills at this stage, they would be able to explosively increase their cultivation in a short period of time. However, it would affect their foundation and their future cultivation. Although Xian Yi's cultivation depended on his disciple, Xian Yi had never treated any of his disciples as tools to help him cultivate. Master. Elder Xian. Senior Xian. Different names came from Zixuan, Lu Ying, Wang Tao, and Lin Jin. The 4 of them woke up at the same time. It was because the Purple Moon Secret Realm was about to close. After a few days of secluded cultivation, Xian Yi's cultivation had risen from the early 4th stage to the late 4th stage. This advancement speed was not bad. One had to know that a few days ago, Xian Yi had just advanced to the 4th level of nascent soul. Only a few days had passed before he reached the middle stage. All of this was due to the Berserk Saber King's ring. Apart from Xian Yi, Guei's improvement was the biggest among the group. From her original cultivation of the 5th level of Qi condensation, it had risen to the second level of Qi Foundation. She had improved by 7 levels. After activating the cold ice body, Gui's cultivation speed was terrifying. It was twice as easy to cultivate. At this moment, Gui's strength was already infinitely close to the soul condensation realm. As long as she reached the soul condensation realm, Xian Yi's main mission would be completed. Lin Jin was not as talented as Gui, but she also had advancement. She had advanced from the second level of Qi Foundation to the fourth level of Qi Foundation. Coupled with her comprehension of the Sword Dao, an ordinary 9th level Qi Foundation expert was no match for her. The other 3, Zixuan, Lu Ying, Wang Tao, and the others, had all improved greatly. Although the 3 of them were not his disciples, Xian Yi did not seem stingy. The medicinal pills that were suitable for them at this stage were also given out. Although these pills were far from comparable to those given to Lin Jin and Gui by Xian Yi, it was already a huge opportunity for them. If it were anyone else, they would probably just give them 1 or 2 stalks of third-rank spiritual herbs and send them away. Jin, remember to come to me, the Purple Feather Merchant Guild of the capital. Just as she was about to be teleported out, Zixuan said to Lin Jin. Following that, the Purple Moon secret realm was closed. The entrance and exit from which they had entered would be the same. Zixuan and Lin Jin were not at the same entrance. If there's a chance, I will for sure. Lin Jin nodded. Although they hadn't known Zixuan for a long time, the 2 of them had experienced a battle of life and death together, and they were good friends of both sides. Before they met their master, Zixuan had given her a lot of help. Jin, after leaving, informed the sect master that he must immediately take everyone back to the sect. Don't delay. Xian Yi warned. He and Lin Jin did not come from the same entrance. Lin Jin had come with the Profound Sword Sect's sect master, Jian Nantian, and the others. Yes. Master. When she thought about the Divine Refining Pagoda, Lin Jin's expression was also somewhat grave. She was not stupid. She knew that although the trip to the Purple Moon Mystery Realm had ended, their matter was far from over. Don't worry. With the master here, the sky can't collapse. Xian Yi patted Lin Jin on the shoulder and comforted her. Lin Jin raised her head to look at her master. She realized that her master was not worried about the impending disaster. He was still as calm as ever. Perhaps it was because of Xian Yi's indifference that the worry in Lin Jin's heart slowly dissipated. Chapter 57. The Mingyue Family King Realm Expert, the Snow King. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 57. The Mingyue Family King Realm Expert, the Snow King. 5 beams of light descended from the sky, enveloping Xian Yi and others. The surrounding scenery changed wildly. The next moment, Xian Yi's figure appeared in the Purple Moon secret realm. At the same time, there were Gui Yi, Gui Xinmeng, Gui Tiancheng, Kong Miao, and the others. But compared to before their entrance, there were much fewer people. Those who hadn't come out had probably perished in the Purple Moon secret realm. One of Kong Miao's 3 disciples died. That person was Peng Zhu, who had tried to spar with Gui Yi when he was in the Gui clan but was stunned by Gui Yi's sword strike. Gui Yi looked at the Gui family's faction. Sure enough, those familiar faces were much fewer. Tell your father and the others separately. We will return to the Profound Sword Sect. Next, Xian Yi would raise Gui Yi's strength to the soul condensation realm within the next few days. Only after completing the main mission and obtaining those 2 rewards could he and the Profound Sword Sect survive this crisis. Xian Yi was confident, but he was not a fool. Even with his current strength, he was confident that he would be able to contend against a 9th-level nascent soul cultivator. However, it was not enough. Next, Xian Yi was facing not only 1 or 2 nascent soul experts. He must not underestimate the attraction of the words, King Realm Secret Treasure. These words were enough to make countless existences at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm and at the half-step king realm go crazy. How many peak 9th level nascent soul experts were unable to step into the king realm in the end? All ants below the king realm. The gap between the king realm and nascent soul realm was like a heavenly chasm. After advancing to the king realm, the spiritual energy within his body would be transformed into a spirit origin. This was a qualitative transformation. To kill a peak 9th level nascent soul expert who didn't possess a spirit origin was simply not too simple. Someone in the king realm was an absolute expert even in the entire southern continent. The total number of kings was 10, not even 20. But those at the peak of the 9th level of nascent soul. There were countless of them. The difference between the first level and the second level was countless. The Domain Shin clan. A clan that wasn't very ancient was one of the top 10 giants of the Azure region. Even many of the clans that possessed ancient inheritances were crushed beneath them. Why? Only because the Shin family had appeared more than 400 years ago, there was an extraordinary person. That person was the current Shin family's king realm expert, Shin Qinkong, King Qinkong. The Shin clan, a small clan that was still unknown 400 years ago, had now risen to become one of the top 10 giants of the Azure region. Even some ancient clans and powers that had spread out for thousands of years had no choice but to bow it. All of this was because of Shin Qinkong. If Shin Qinkong hadn't broken through to the king realm, even if the Shin clan hadn't disappeared into the river of history, they would probably still be that obscure little clan. There were too many stories like Shin Qinkong's. There were too many people who wanted to become like Shin Qinkong. One of the top 10 giants of the Azure region had broken through to the king realm because of one of their clansmen. As a result, no one could understand the desire of those peak 9th level nascent soul experts and half-step kings to become kings. As long as they were able to break through to the king realm, they could do whatever they wanted. Because of this, the enemies that Xian Yi would face next were far more exaggerated than he had imagined. If he wanted to resolve this crisis, he could only let Bai, a peak king realm expert, take action. To move out that mighty figure, he had to complete the main mission, which was to make Gui's battle strength reach the soul condensation realm. This was not difficult. If Xian Yi was willing, he would be able to force Gui to break through right now. However, Xian Yi would not, nor would he be able to do so. That was because if he forced Gui to break through, it would seriously affect her foundation. The consequences of pulling a seedling to help her grow were extremely serious. Therefore, Xian Yi wouldn't have done this if he hadn't been forced to a desperate state, even if Gui had volunteered. And now, he had yet to reach that level. Although the news would soon spread outside the 9 hanging river kingdoms and even outside, it would take them 2 or 3 days to reach the profound sword sect. Xian Yi, on the other hand, only needed to help Gui break through her bottleneck within these 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days was more than enough. At a certain entrance of the Purple Moon Forest. As the 2 pillars of light came out of the door, 2 beautiful figures appeared. They were the Mingyue Shu and the Mingyue Lan. Swoosh! As soon as the 2 of them came out, a purple-robed woman appeared before them. Ancestor. When they saw this person, they were no strangers. This person was none other than the Snow King, one of the 2 kings of the Mingyue family. Mingyue Shui was also the ancestor of Mingyue Shu and the others. Although she looked like she was only 30 years old, she was already over 300 years old. However, a king realm expert's lifespan was long, and she was over 300 years old. Among many king realm experts, she was already quite young. The appearance of the Snow King did not attract much attention. At her level, her control of the spiritual origin in her body had reached an extremely terrifying level. At that moment, she seemed to be no different from an ordinary nascent soul cultivator. What do you think? Lanner, what level did you reach? What was the number 1 on the secondary rankings? How many more names did you get on the main rankings? The Snow King was like her name, her personality was like ice and snow. As she spoke, her voice carried a faint coldness. It wasn't that she was doing this on purpose. It was because of her personality. She had always felt that this secret realm and the divine refining pagoda was extremely extraordinary back then, was still the same. After advancing to the king realm, she had come here and tried to break through the secret realm's gate, but she was forcefully blocked by a terrifying force. The person who created this secret realm was not only a king realm expert but also an extremely powerful one. The Mingyuelon stuck out her tongue and said in embarrassment, 50. First level, second on the secondary rankings, main rankings, no. That's right. Even though you haven't ascended to the main rankings, you're only one level away. It's about the same as I expected. Second on the secondary rankings. That's right. After nodding, the Snow King was quite satisfied. Lawner's talent was indeed a bit inferior to Shuer's. No. When Mingyue Shu was questioned, she suddenly blushed and felt ashamed. She was ashamed that she had failed to meet the ancestors' expectations. Oh. Not you. Could it be that those little fellows from the top of the Azure ranking had also gone? What level did you reach? What were the secondary rankings like? What's the new name on the leaderboard? Chapter 58. Kill them all. Who should come? Who should die? Make your own decision. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 58. Kill them all. Who should come? Who should die? Make your own decision. The Snow King's gaze immediately became somewhat playful. Mingyue Shu's reply was indeed somewhat out of her expectations. From the Snow King's point of view, Mingyue Shu's talent was even higher than that of herself back then. In terms of talent, there were not many people in the entire Azure region who could surpass her. But now, she was telling her that she wasn't number one on the main rankings. What was the matter with Lawner's position as second place on the secondary rankings? Could it be that those little monsters from the top of the Azure rankings also came? The 51st level. Fourth on the secondary rankings. Not on the main rankings. The top four of the secondary rankings were Xian Yi, Guiyi, Mingyuelon, and Mingyue Shu. Although Mingyuelon and Mingyue Shu had reached the 50.1st level, Mingyuelon had managed to reach the 50.2nd level. As for Mingyue Shu, because of Guiyi, she did not pass the 51st level, so she was ranked below Mingyuelon. Not even on the main rankings. What's going on? The Snow King frowned slightly. Mingyuelon's results were normal. However, the results of Mingyue Shu were extremely abnormal. With Shuer's strength, how could she not even pass the 51st level? The ranking was even lower than Lawner's. This shouldn't be, it was even more abnormal. Originally, the Snow King's prediction of Mingyue Shu had at least surpassed her previous ranking, but now. Ancestor, this isn't my fault at all. It's just that we met two perverts this time. No. It was a freak and a super monster. This was the case, Mingyuelon snatched up the topic and began to talk about it. Although it was not clear, most of the time, she was calling Xian Yi a pervert, a monster, and a weirdo. However, the Snow King still understood the story. Xian Yi. Fourth level of Nascent Soul Realm. Sword Intent. The 99th level. Even a King Realm expert like her was a bit shocked. A fourth level Nascent Soul expert in their 20s was nothing. To a King-level expert who had lived for more than 300 years and was well-informed, it wasn't difficult to understand. Not to mention looking at the history of the Azure region, not only were there a few, but there were more than a few who had reached the same level in their 20s. What shocked the Snow King was the Sword Intent, a mere fourth-level Nascent Soul expert, was able to comprehend a level of Sword Intent that even King Realm Sword Dao experts had yet to comprehend. This was a bit terrifying. As an expert in the Sword Dao, the Snow King knew how difficult it was to comprehend Sword Intent. In that case, it isn't your problem. This kid's level of genius is extraordinary. Even outside the Azure region, this Xian Yi is a genius. Interesting. This tiny heavenly wind kingdom hid these two monsters. One of them was at the fourth level of the nascent soul realm and has comprehended sword intent, and one has a cold ice body. Not only that, the sword intent that Xian Yi used gave me a feeling that it was even stronger than the sword intent that you used, Patriarch, and even more powerful. Of course, Mingyue Shu did not say that. Fortunately, Mingyue Shu did not say anything. Otherwise, the Snow King would not only be shocked but also be in disbelief. Let's go back to the clan. Sure, I'll pass you another heaven-ranked zither technique. I've gotten it from an old friend. Next, you'll begin to meditate and prepare for the Azure Region Grand Competition. You'll try to cultivate this heaven-ranked zither technique to the peak before the Azure Region Grand Competition, or breakthrough to the second level of Nascent Soul. You'll try to obtain a good position and gain face for my Mingyue family. No one in my Mingyue family has been able to enter the top 10 of the Azure Region Grand Competition for many years. As for Lanner, you're the same. Don't play for around anymore, okay? When he mentioned Mingyue Lan, the Snow King's voice suddenly became stern. Mingyue Lan quickly nodded. She didn't dare to anger the ancestor. However, let's go to the so-called Profound Sword sect before that. The Snow King didn't have much interest in the so-called King Realm inheritance and treasures. She only wanted to see if Xian Yi was as monstrous as Mingyue Shu and Mingyue Lan had described. A trace of joy flashed across Mingyue Shu's eyes. Previously, she had been hesitating whether to speak, but she did not want the ancestor to take the initiative to speak. Mingyue Shu did not like Xian Yi at all, but she had a good impression of him. Especially when Xian Yi's sword deterred everyone, he had the strength of a single man and was able to open his mouth and face everything. On the other hand, she didn't want such a genius to die just like that. Hey, hey, hey. There's a good show to watch. Compared to Mingyue Shu, Mingyue Lan didn't think too much. When she heard that there was a good show to watch, she immediately began to dance with joy. When he returned to the Profound Sword sect, the sect master, Jian Nantian, came directly to Xian Yi. Elder Xian, the rumors outside are all true. You've obtained the King Realm inheritance. Jian Nantian was shocked. The fourth level of Nascent Soul. Sword Intent. Grand Elder Yang of the Endless Gate sect and Grandmaster Fan of the Roaming Dragon Pavilion were defeated. He ascended to the Divine Refining Pagoda and obtained the inheritance of a King Realm expert. At first, when Jian Nantian heard this, his first reaction was disbelief. Grand Elder Yang of the Endless Gate sect, Fan Taishang of the Roaming Dragon Pavilion. What kind of person was that, especially Fan Taishang, who stood at the top of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom's pyramid? Did he lose to Xian Yi? However, as more and more people confirmed it, it was even to the extent that he could not believe it. Originally, Jian Nantian had already looked highly at Xian Yi. At the first level of the nascent soul realm in their 20s, the Heavenly Wind Kingdom was unique in history. However, he didn't expect that in the end, he had underestimated Xian Yi's level of genius. That's right, including the King Realm inheritance. Xian Yi had nothing to hide from Jian Nantian. Jian Nantian, who should have been happy, was not happy no matter what. The King Realm inheritance was a supreme treasure. At the same time, it was a hot potato. It depended on who it was. Xian Yi was a monstrous genius. But even if he had the strength to defeat Fan Taishan, it was still far from enough. Sect Master, do you trust me? Xian Yi suddenly spoke as he looked at Jian Nantian, who was extremely anxious. Of course, I believe it, but I'm not talking about it right now. Since you believe in me, then calm down and trust me. Although I don't care about this King Realm inheritance, the things in my hands cannot be snatched away by others. Whoever steals them, whoever it is will die. Xian Yi truly did not care about the Saber King's inheritance. King Realm. Was it difficult to ascend? To others, it was very difficult. However, to Xian Yi, the King Realm was only the beginning. Do you know what kind of enemies you will face next? Jian Nanshan's eyes were fixed on Xian Yi. I know. How confident are you to be able to overcome this crisis? 10%. Xian Yi gave Jian Nantian an extremely positive answer. Overcoming danger. No, this will be a slaughter. Kill them all. Who would come? Will die. The peak of the 9th level of nascent soul. Kill. Half-step King Realm. As long as he dared to come, no one would leave alive. Even if they were in the King Realm, they would not be able to leave alive. He wanted to use this battle to tell everyone that they couldn't take anything that belongs to Xian Yi. Unless he gave it to them, no one would be able to snatch it from him. Chapter 59. The battle was about to begin. Crowds gather. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 59. The battle was about to begin. Crowds gather. The rain was coming. On this day, the sky was somewhat dark, giving off a faint sense of suppression. Everyone in the Profound Sword sect was terrified. News about Xian Yi had already spread all over the region. Everyone was shocked by Xian Yi's strength and monstrous talent. Reaching the nascent soul realm and comprehending the sword Tao that countless sword cultivators pursued. This kind of talent was almost demonic. One must know that in the huge heavenly wind kingdom, no. Even in the 9 hanging river kingdoms, there were very few people who had comprehended the embryonic form of sword intent, let alone sword intent itself. Moreover, most of them were sword Tao experts who had been immersed in the sword Tao for many years. Which one of them wasn't an illustrious existence? I never thought that the heavenly wind kingdom would be hiding such a monstrous genius. It said that even the 2 chosen of the Bright Moon clan were defeated by him in the Purple Moon's secret realm. Sword intent. At the same age, I didn't even have a grasp on the embryonic form of sword intent. Yet he had comprehended sword intent. Unfortunately, his life is now invalid. He obtained something that he shouldn't have. I wonder how many nascent soul experts will be attracted to the legacy of a King Realm expert. This is especially true for peak 9th level nascent soul experts and even half-step kings. If I were him, I'd hand over the King Realm legacy, leaving him alive and well. With his talent, is he afraid that he won't be able to take revenge? Your thoughts are too simple. Do you think that with his talent, those who steal his King Realm inheritance will spare him? This is no longer the question of whether or not he will hand over the inheritance. He will die today. Many figures had already appeared around the Profound Sword sect. Of course, these people did not come here for the sake of Xian Yi's King Realm inheritance. Instead, they came here to watch the fun. With so many peak experts gathered here, not only were they at the peak of the 9th level of the nascent soul realm, but even half-step kings were likely to descend. If they were to miss this scene, they wouldn't encounter it again. 2 days ago, the Profound Sword sect master, Jian Nantian, had already informed everyone that in a few days, the Profound Sword sect would face a huge calamity. Those who didn't want to stay could leave on their own. The Profound Sword sect would not stop them. The day that those words were spoken, a portion of the people left. Most of these people were outer sect disciples who had just joined the Profound Sword sect a short time ago. Not long after these people had come to the Profound Sword sect, they naturally did not have much sense of belonging to the Profound Sword sect, nor did they have any loyalty. They had come here to study, to become stronger, not to die. Furthermore, who didn't know what kind of danger the Profound Sword sect was facing. If they stayed, they would die. Therefore, Jian Nantian did not blame them. However, if the Profound Sword sect were to tide over the difficulties today, they would come back one day. I'm sorry, the Profound Sword sect would not accept it. Someone's coming. That is, Heavenly Wind Monarch. Who is the old man behind him? That's the Fenghua monarch, the ruler of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. The ancestor of the royal family is the only 7th-level nascent soul expert in the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. There was a commotion within the crowd as their gazes turned to the two people who had arrived. To many people from the Heavenly Wind Kingdom, neither of them were strangers. One was the current emperor of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. At the peak of the 6th level of the nascent soul realm, one of them was the previous emperor of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. At the peak of the 7th level of the nascent soul realm, he was the strongest expert in the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. Some young people might be unfamiliar with him, but those older people were no stranger to that old man Fenghua. These people were from the same era as old man Fenghua. Not only the Heavenly Wind Monarch and Elder Fenghua but also the members of the 10 great sects. TL. The rulers of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom are called monarchs instead of kings because the only kings are king realm experts. As expected, the people around them gradually stopped paying attention to them. There was no lack of people from the 10 great sections. Even the sect heads and elders of these sects had arrived. Do they intend to join this battle as well? Someone asked. No, these people are just like us. They're all here to watch the fun. As for joining the competition, it's not that I look down on the 10 great sects of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. It's just that they aren't worthy. Although these words were somewhat unpleasant, they were the truth. Those who were qualified to participate in this battle were at least high-level nascent soul experts. They were at the 7th level of the nascent soul realm and above, and the heads of the 10 great sects were only at the peak of the 6th level of the nascent soul realm. They didn't even have the qualifications to compete. Only the ancestor of the royal family could participate. Of course, he couldn't participate. Is that person Xian Yi? Not bad at all, looks like he's about my age. He's a nascent soul expert. Quite a few disciples of the sects were discussing animatedly. Most of the gazes were focused on Xian Yi, who was resting with his eyes closed. Some were shocked by Xian Yi's age, while others were shocked by his strength. Over the past few days, they had heard too many rumors. The most monstrous person in the history of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom had comprehended sword intent, defeated the roaming dragon pavilion's Grandmaster Fan, and killed the Elder Yang. Later on, it was said that he had even cut down a 6th-level nascent soul cultivator. They didn't know whether it was true or false. In short, it was becoming more and more profound. They didn't know whether they should believe it or not. He's here. On the square of the sect, a group of profound sword sects higher-ups, the Master Jian Nantian, the vice-sect masters Yi and Yang, the elders, and all gathered here. Xian Yi slowly opened his eyes and looked into the distance. He followed Xian Yi's gaze. Not far away, 2 clusters of black mist were rushing over. Only after getting closer did he see that it was not 2 clusters of black mist, but 2 malicious old men in black robes. Cloud Mountain Kingdoms, Ghost Moon Sect, Old White Ghost. Elder Mountain Ghost. There are also 2 Ghost Moon Sect elders. There was no need for the 2 of them to report themselves to the people around them who had already revealed their origins. The Cloud Mountain Kingdom was one of the 9 Hanging River Kingdoms. Its overall strength was much stronger than the Heavenly Wind Kingdoms. Among the 9 Hanging River Kingdoms, it was ranked in the top 3. The Ghost Moon Sect was not a small sect, but one of the 3 great sects of the Cloud Mountain Kingdom. The 2 of them were known as the Ghost Moon Twin Breaks. The Ghost Moon Sect was different from the other sections. The Ghost Moon Sect had 2 sect masters, these 2. These 2 were existences at the peak of the 9th level of nascent soul. As for the 2 Ghost Moon Sect elders behind the 2 old ghosts, although they were no stronger than White Ghost and Black Ghost, they were also 7th level nascent soul experts. Heh, it's lively. Looks like today will be a bloody storm. Old Man Bai Gui's gaze swept through the surroundings and finally stopped somewhere. There was a man with a huge axe on his back. On the axe, Old White Ghost felt a trace of coldness. As for the Profound Sword sect and the others, including Xian Yi, Old Man Bai Gui was too lazy to even glance at them. In his opinion, Xian Yi was nothing more than fish on board. He could only be slaughtered at will. Chapter 60. Are all those from the current younger generation so arrogant? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 60. Are all those from the current younger generation so arrogant? Chang Kuan, I didn't expect you to come as well. Old White Ghost looked at the man with the huge axe and chuckled. Why can't I come if you two old ghosts can come? The enormous axed man, Chang Kuan, snorted coldly. Chang Kuan, one of the two great sects of the Dark Cloud Kingdom, the sect master of the Blood Cliff sect, was a peak 9th level nascent soul cultivator. The appearance of the three peak 9th level nascent soul experts immediately attracted the attention of countless people. Another person is here. 100 Life Sect's Vice Sect Master. Frost Moon Pavilion's Grand Elder. Raksha Sect Master. One after another, the names of the powers and experts that shook the 9 kingdoms appeared one after another, making this place even more oppressive. So strong. That's right. This is my first time seeing so many nascent soul experts. Any one of them is even stronger than the heads of the 10 great sects of the Heavenly Wind Kingdom. The Profound Sword sect will be destroyed. With so many terrifying figures, they really couldn't figure out how the Profound Sword sect would be able to contend against them. Xian Yi was a monster, but, no matter how monstrous he was only at the 4th level of the nascent soul realm. Even if he had comprehended sword intent, and even if he could slay Grand Elder Yang, who was at the 6th level of the nascent soul realm, so what? The weakest of these experts was at the 7th level of the nascent soul realm. Not to mention all of them, all out, he wouldn't be able to contend against them. With Xian Yi's aptitude, his future accomplishments will be far greater than anyone present, and even more so than everyone present, he will have the opportunity to touch the realm of the king. Unfortunately, he has no future. Talent is merely talent in the end. No matter how great one's potential is, it is only potential, not strength. Today, Xian Yi will probably die prematurely. Some people sighed endlessly. You two old ghosts dare to appear here. Aren't you afraid that the Star Harvester sect's 2 old ghosts wouldn't be here and will take your Ghost Moon sect's nest away? I don't think that person from the Star Harvester sect has appeared. Is he already on his way to your Ghost Moon sect? Chang Kuan, the Blood Cliff sect's sect master, asked with a cold smile. Although he was not a member of the Cloud Mountain Kingdom, the Cloud Mountain Kingdom was close to his kingdom. He knew quite a bit about the matters within the Cloud Mountain Kingdom, and he had even fought several rounds with these 2 old ghosts. Neither of the 2 old ghosts was his match. However, if they joined hands, Chang Kuan would not be able to do anything to them. On the other hand, the Star Harvester sect that Chang Kuan spoke of was the mortal enemy of the Ghost Moon sect. Like the Ghost Moon sect, the Star Harvester sect was one of the 3 great sects of the Cloud Mountain Kingdom. Both of them were mortal enemies and were equally powerful. Over the years, the Star Harvester sect had been looking for opportunities to eradicate the Ghost Moon sect from the Cloud Mountain Kingdom. The same was true of the Ghost Moon sect. Now that both of the Ghost Moon sect's experts had arrived, the Star Harvester sect might be able to attack the Ghost Moon sect's headquarters. Heh. Rather than care about my Ghost Moon sect, it's better to care about your Blood Cliff sect. Your Blood Cliff sect's middle and high levels have a serious fault. You're the only one at the nascent soul realm. If you die here today, your Blood Cliff sect, don't worry, I won't die even if you die. No, all of you will die. Just as the leaders of the 2 great powers mocked each other, a sudden voice sounded from below. This sudden voice caused the entire world to instantly quiet down. The person who spoke was none other than Xian Yi. In truth, Xian Yi didn't need to be like this. He could completely wait for them to quarrel, even fight, kill each other, and take advantage of each other. However, Xian Yi did not care. There was no need. In any case, they will die anyway. Why fight sooner or later? Rather than being killed by him, it would be better for me to kill him. Who are you? What do you mean? The one who spoke was not Chang Kuan or Old White Ghost, but the Ghost Moon sect elder behind Old White Ghost. Xian Yi glanced at him and didn't say anything. You should be that Xian Yi, right? It said that you've reached the 4th level of the nascent soul realm at the age of 20 and have comprehended sword intent. They say your talent is demonic. You've killed a 6th level nascent soul expert. Seeing Xian Yi's gaze, this person chuckled and continued, no matter how high your potential is, how talented are you in the end? Can you leave this place alive today? Xian Yi was still staring at him. His palm slightly opened and a long sword appeared in his hand. I don't know if I can leave this place alive, but you will die today. Xian Yi's voice was slightly cold. Do you dare stand up and fight me? Xian Yi went against the elder of the Ghost Moon sect. The 4th level of nascent soul versus the 7th level of nascent soul. This scene caused many people to secretly chat. This was especially true for many of the younger generation. Their blood boiled in excitement. That's right. This kid is bold. Above the clouds, the Snow King casually spoke. Mingyue and Shu had arrived early, but no one could sense their existence. Mingyue Shu pursed her lips and her eyes flickered. Below. The elder of the Ghost Moon sect behind Old Man White frowned slightly. He didn't expect Xian Yi to take the initiative to fight him. He wanted to fight, but when he thought of the rumors about the profound one-sword slash that eradicated those of the 6th level of nascent soul, he hesitated. If the rumors were false, it was fine. If it was true, he might not be his opponent. Although he was at the 7th level of nascent soul, he was only at the early stage. Being able to kill a 6th level nascent soul expert in one strike meant that Xian Yi's battle prowess was already comparable to a 7th level nascent soul expert. Originally, he had thought that this elder of the Ghost Moon sect would be ready to fight, but in the end, it was completely different. After a long silence, Xian Yi spoke again. What? Do you dare? What are you waiting for, ha ha ha. It turns out that the Ghost Moon sect is a group of cowardly people. They're at the 7th level of the nascent soul realm, but they don't dare to accept the challenge of a 4th level nascent soul expert. TSK. Today, they've been taught a lesson. Chang Kuan sneered without any politeness. Old Man Bai Gui's face was a little ugly after being ridiculed by Chang Kuan. He said in a low voice, "In Gui, what are you waiting for?" Even though he was afraid of death, he didn't want to fight. However, Lord White Ghost had already spoken, so he could only bite the bullet. This kid is arrogant. Let's battle. I'm not afraid of you. Xian Yi smiled, in one move. I shall kill you. Your courage is commendable. For the sake of your desire to fight, I'll kill you with one move. Xian Yi's words couldn't be said to be arrogant. If a 7th level nascent soul expert were to say that to a 4th level nascent soul expert, then that would be very normal. However, now, on the contrary, it would be somewhat strange. At this moment, Old Man White Ghost finally began to carefully examine Xian. Are all young people so arrogant these days? The surrounding people fell silent when they heard this. He did not say that the current young man was arrogant, but only Xian Yi. Underscore 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 author. P.S. was writing too quickly yesterday, and quite a few bugs were appearing. It had to be done slowly. If it was updated like yesterday, the quality would be greatly reduced. The author still wanted to write this book well. Under the condition of ensuring the quality, he would try his best to do more. Otherwise, if he wrote it in a mess, he would be completely irresponsible to the readers.